if you can get yourself comfortable with 2 or 3 guys, or even a pool of guys between 67 and 71, your lineups are going to be so much different than everyone else's because everyone is just falling in that 73 to 76 range and taking 2 or 3 for 4 spots there.
That's why we talked about the strategy-wise. Lumping them all together is different than everybody else is making a decision between them. And then the secondary, or it could be the first, and that's the secondary, would be just skipping that range altogether, skipping a range of guys. So 73 to 77, Doug Gim down to whoever, that's where you can get different, and you're naturally, then you can do kind of whatever you want up top for the most part.
Entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now. Get yourself a deposit match of up to $100. Smash the like, sub to the channel, because we're breaking down the CJ Cup Byron Nelson DraftKings picks. We'll get into the one and done, the weather for the week, which has been a pretty hot topic so far, and that's really going to be it. And the final bets, I suppose, roster construction, all that fun stuff. Tambo's back in studio.
We made it. Got through it all. I still need those window coverings. I didn't win enough to afford those, and I didn't get to that yet with the move, but it was a long move, lots of packing and organizing, and now good to go. So
we just had the windows replaced in half of our house for the last 2 days. Not fun.
I was going to say, not a fun time.
House is freezing.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, that's the thing. When you're doing anything like that, it's always, it just puts you out a little bit and it throws you off your normal routine. So now is the same for me. I'm just getting back into the swing of things.
But I need to win, too, to be able to. So I use all the winnings from earlier on in the season to pay for like half of the windows. Now I need to win some more so I can pay for the rest of it.
We got more. We got lots of good stuff coming up this week. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but it's still a lot of money to be made. Good contests out there, big money up top. And then we got a lot of other stuff coming up with the Wells Fargo, the PGA Championship, our Canadian Open. We got Memorial, US Open, just tons of good events coming up. So should be a good run here.
Yeah, next 8 weeks. And don't forget Colonial. Colonial is just sandwiched in there, one of my favorite tournaments of the year. I do think that's where Tom Hoagie gets his win.
Okay. So not this week when everybody's on him?
Well, I'm hoping not, because I'm not on him.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm hoping this doesn't end up being the week as someone who just invested and dumped all his money and basically sold short on Tom Hoagie, and it just didn't work, and everyone else gets to reap all the benefits of it. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that could happen.
It'd be like the guy who bought all the Bitcoin at 80,000 and then sold it all at 35,000, and then it went back up to like 80,000.
Yes.
That's how I'm going to feel with Tom Hoagie.
That's the people that did not make money on Bitcoin.
That's exactly right. But according to the internet, everyone made money on Bitcoin. Everyone's a millionaire now.
Yeah.
So watch out for that. Let's jump into this Underdog Draft. Me and you will go register right now. The PME Classic is up under drafts on Underdog right now. Let's see. We got to wait for 3 people to jump in with us, so we'll jump back to that once that is filled. I do want to talk about the DraftKings landscape a little bit, and we'll obviously get into more in-depth on that. You can always hit the time codes for how rosters are going to play themselves out. But if you just start your team with Spieth and Day, or Spieth and Sungjae, Day and Sungjae, I feel like you can take whoever else you want.
I think so as well. I think it's going to be up top. We know everybody's going to go, and then from down from there, I think it's really just sort of 10 to 15% ranges, and you can just pick your spots.
It doesn't seem, it's weird because like the 3 9s is going to be the build this week that most people go to. That leaves you with like $7,100 left, but there doesn't seem to be anyone around $7,100 that's getting a ton of ownership.
I don't. It's a rare situation where because they piled a bunch of guys into the 6K range, it actually feels more like in the 7s. It's just going to be 5 to 12 percenters, so you can get away with that. Like those, the mid range is sort of in that 8K, other 9K guys like the secondaries. But to your point, 2 to 3 9K guys is going to be the start of many rosters on DraftKings this week.
What do you think Spieth comes in at?
I'll say 18.
I guess with Will out, that no one really wants to play Day, so they'll find that money. I just think it all piles on to Siwoo.
I think he gets up there quite a ways, but I think this happens all the time. It's been said for every week. It was the Scotty week. All the other weeks, people keep saying this stuff. It's like, it just happens. The guy at the top gets owned no matter what. And especially when there's enough conversation, like you said, it's not really congregated down low, but there's a ton of guys you hear people talking about right now in this bottom range. So everyone has their guys. It gets spread out there. And then from there, it sets up where they just end up getting up to Spieth. And then you hear the talk of you and I just right now saying, we know everyone's going 2 to 3 9K guys, so that piles more people onto it as well. Oh, what do you know? Third.
Oh, you got third pick in the draft?
My best pick ever.
I have fifth pick. Fifth pick in the draft this time around. Do you have any sort of strategy for these drafts on Underdog? Once again, code Mayo, and the Best Ball Mania 5 is up right now as well for NFL season. 1.5 million to first place. Everyone inside the top 40 gets at least 50K. It's a nice flat payout. I like that.
Love that, actually. It looks amazing. And just one thought on the strategy stuff you just mentioned. So I was looking at it really quick there, is we'll get to the weather, obviously, but this being, with the contest, the way it sets up, like what are you doing for day one here when it looks like there's a ton of rain, either overnight or first thing into the morning, especially? It looks like for sure in the morning. And then what's it going to be? Like, that's when the wind kind of dies out. Is it going to come back, lift clean in place, and then guys going out first thing just get to tee off on this place, or what?
Well, I don't think that they can change it to lift clean in place. It would have to be put in place before the round if that was going to happen.
I think they will, because it looks like the rain starts well before.
So if that's the case, I think that just looking at the weather, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into that in a moment, it all depends on if there's a delay or not. So if the AM guys have to go out and play in this sprinkle of rain, as long as they don't get stuff in the hard stuff, that's fine. But I do think that the PM AM seems to, I wouldn't say a distinct advantage, but it seems like the wind that they're going to be playing in on Friday morning is a little bit lower, and the wind is either neutral and then no rain on Thursday. So I just want whoever's playing in the afternoon on Thursday. But if there's a delay, then it could be all the AM guys.
It went Siwoo and Norin, so I'm going to take a PM guy and start with Jordan Spieth.
You're going to take Jordan Spieth with your first pick. I'm going to take some PM guys as well. There doesn't seem to be a ton here. So we got Minwoo, Adam Scott, Siwoo are all in the PM, as is Ben An and Steven Yeager and Adam Shank. So that's kind of like the spot where I want to go to here. I'll take Ben An with my first pick since I'm not betting him. So I might as well pile in on him here on first round underdog. Hopefully it works out well.
Outside of Norin, it feels like a lot of the chalk is also in the PM, like the Siwoos, the Shanks, the Steven Yeagers, the Davis Thompsons, if he gets up there, Bo Hosslers, like some of those guys. So it is interesting to see when we get to those lineup builds later what that ends up turning into. But
so at the swing, after I took Ben An, it went Adam Shank and then Keith Mitchell. I took Minwoo Lee.
I like him this week.
Especially because you have to think about the underdog drafts as like a showdown contest, right? Because it's just Thursday. And Minwoo, maybe he ends up winning this week. I know that Jeff bet on him and he was trying to sell me on it. And I thought it was a pretty good sell job, to be perfectly honest. I'm still trying to consider what I'm going to do at the top of my card, if I'm going to do anything at all. But for a single day round, as long as Minwoo brings his putter and starts putting hot, you have 3 holes where you can make eagle and 2 potentially drivable par 4s. That is the ultimate Minwoo setup.
I do like that for sure. And I also just realized too, Jordan Spieth has the AM tee time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually switching my strategy. And I'm
you
taking
gotta
AM
stack
guys.
AM.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that and hope for the lift clean in place on that. So
I was wondering why I couldn't find him here.
I had it flipped when I first looked at it, and it was Siwoo that I was looking at. So Siwoo was in the PM.
So Jason Day finally goes. Yeager.
I got
Day
Spieth to start.
You got Day Spieth to start, and they're both AM, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what I'll end up doing DraftKings wise with those guys. Just build some AM, PM stacks with those 2 as the leads. Because Sungjae's in that range too, right?
Sungjae is also AM, yes.
Yeah.
And so is Mav McNeely.
I'm fine passing on Matt McNeely.
I'm going to take him.
Well, you're doing the AM stack, so of course you're going to do it.
Yeah, it makes more sense for me right
But
now.
I just mean in general, I don't love Matt McNeely this week.
Yeah, he's more of like a guy if I land there. I think a lot of people feel that way, though, and at 8,200. We'll get to that when we build later on DraftKings, but for this, it's just another AM guy that I'm taking there. So
I was going to take Dietrich, but Dietrich just went. I think I'm just going to bite the bullet, take KH Lee. Let's do it. KH Lee, 3rd round pick. He lost 7 strokes between putting and chipping last year at this course and absolutely lit it up ball striking.
That's his spot, man.
It is a spot.
You don't see it many times where that happens.
So it's back to me. Oh, Novak is available as a part of the PM. I bet Novak, so I'll take Novak. This team is going to be odd. Not really filled with the highest end guys.
I need to figure out who I'm going here if this gets taken off.
So some other PM guys, you can look at the AM side. I'll look at the PM side of it. So other guys that I'm considering when it comes back around to me, if they're still there.
I'm going to take Justin Lower.
Okay, very popular this week. Jake Knapp is on my radar. Kevin Tway, your dad's guy.
Yeah, he's in the pool this week. I like him.
Playing some good golf right
What
now.
did he just do? I mean, obviously between the move and everything else that was going on, was it with one of the team events or what? Where did I
No.
see him up the board?
He was third in Puerto Rico.
That's what it
He
was.
played in the final group.
Yes, that's what it was. I knew I was watching something there in between and saw him up there.
So Ryan Fox is a part of this PM wave. I will be taking him as well when it gets back to my pick. Then I need to figure out one final player to throw into this. Too bad Kevin Yu wasn't a part of this wave. I would have loved that, but
he
where to be
taken
found.
it?
I'll probably take Lonto Griffin, who I'm pretty big on this week.
Did you get pulled? Yeah, he's off the board.
Who?
Kevin Yu.
He just went. Him
Yeah,
and
I just
Seamus.
saw it now, yeah.
He and
Okay.
Seamus Power just went as the turn. You took Lauer.
Even like Matty Schmidt, he's in the morning. Is he still on the board here?
I would have guessed. I mean, he's rating pretty highly, DraftKings wise, for ownership. I would guess that he's already gone.
Yeah. Okay, so what about my guy? Jeez.
Cue up Ryan Fox here. Oh, you're on the clock. CT Pan just went.
Yeah, I got to figure out a guy here. When's Taylor Pendrith or Davis Thompson? Okay, Pendrith, that works.
Pendrith.
Yeah.
I saw he rated out really well in your guy Lee's course fit rankings.
Yeah, he does. This week he looks solid, and he was the Canadians. By the way, this is the week. Lions, Tigers, Bears. Oh my! It's like Canadians, Koreans, Australians. Oh my! It's like all those groups that you're seeing that everyone are sort of leaning towards. This is a week last week that we had. I know it wasn't much for everybody watching that, but the Canadians were really up there. Dad was hyped for the Canadians at the top of the board. He's these two dudes and these two, they were all finding their way up. It didn't work out in the end, but they were all sort of in the mix, so to speak, going into it.
So your dad is like the TSN viewer. Like he's the guy who wants to see where the Canadians are at in the field, even if they're like nowhere
Absolutely.
near the top.
Yeah, he's a PME viewer as well,
Oh, there we go.
watching all the shows.
Shout out Tambo's dad.
Yeah, he loves it, so it's good. But he's way down in the one and done. He's not happy about that, so it sucks because then the Christmas present's not worth as much, right? It was worth the experience and the fun, but it's not paying off the way he wants it to, and he's competitive, so he's trying to get after it. He was going to go Kevin Yu this week based on your research video, but then he decided to switch it up and take my guy Sung Jae Im.
Okay, well, probably a week. Coming off a win, can Sung Jae make it 2 in a row?
That's the thing.
I took
he
Ryan
won in Korea.
I took Ryan Fox with my 5th pick, and then I took Lonto to finish it off. So that's my squad: Ann, Lee, Novak, Fox, and Lonto.
I had to take a rushed pick, but I made sure it was AM still. Ben Griffin. I don't mind him anyway, but I just that's who I had to take at the end there, so I got him in.
Okay, so that's the squad that you. What's your overall team?
Where do I?
Jordan,
Spieth, Day, McNeely, Lower, Justin Lauer, Pendrith, and Griffin.
Okay. Peter Quest ends up going with the penultimate pick in this draft. I actually thought he would have went higher. Maybe that is sort of indicative of maybe we're in a little bit too small of a bubble here where people love Custy Pete.
Yeah, I think it might be talked up a little bit too much as well. Like I forget what his price is now.
$7,500.
Yeah, and I still have him coming in sub 10. We'll see what people think when we actually get there. But
I think right around 10 is probably.
yeah, it's one thing where people are like, you can't play him. He's the worst. He's 7 or 8% on. Like it's not. There's Kevin Yu's probably very similar to him. Lauer, who we just talked about, Pendrith,
Gim.
Sig. There's Gim. There's a bunch of dudes in there that are going to be the same as him. So if you like him, just play him. It's people are saying he sucks because of ownership, and it's that's not really. I don't see it. I just don't see that ownership that everybody else says they see.
All right, let's talk about the weather. We hit it on it a little bit and trying to divvy it up into waves right now. So Thursday, rain coming in the morning. You're going to have probably a total of, it says at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. there's going to be a combined 2.6 inches of rain. So they're probably not going to be playing through that. And if it's thunderstorms, then they're definitely not going to be on the course. So I would expect delays anyway.
I think so. Yeah.
But and we know that the PGA Tour does not have a very good track record of getting in entire rounds. So the PM guys might get pushed to the AM and have to play, 23, 24 holes on Friday. And I don't know if that's going to kick it back because it does look like there's a little bit of rain on Friday morning, but nothing too serious. But to look at the overall weather, like it's a ton of wind in the morning, like consistent 13, 14, gusts up to 25. When we get to the afternoon on Thursday, it's going to be 8, 7, gusts up to 12, 15, something like that. So a better draw for anyone who gets to play in the afternoon in these softer conditions, less wind. That seems like sort of the ultimate recipe to go score. Then you have Friday morning where it's going to be 8, 7, even if there is a little bit of rain, with gusts up to 16, 15, and then in the afternoon it's going to be consistently 10 to 13 with gusts up to 16 to 20. So it does seem like the afternoon on Friday is going to be a little bit worse as well. So just based on this, and again, if they don't play at all during the morning on Thursday, then it completely flips, right?
I think if there's a delay, I actually prefer AM PM to everything you just said, and the reason would be is I think it would be announced and possible that they come out with lift, clean, in place if there's gonna be 3 inches of rain or whatever it looks like. If not, who cares? It's still, you're coming out in a little bit better temperatures, wetter, softer conditions. I think they still get the round in. I know we're talking about the PGA here, so sometimes that can be tough, but let's say they get the round in. The next morning, it's not about like the rain, but like the temps are way colder versus the afternoon. It's like 68 versus 81, 79. Like it's good temps in the afternoon. There's not really much rain Friday afternoon, or sorry, wind. It's like 8 to 9 to 10 miles per hour. Gusts are 7 to 14. This is standard Texas stuff. It's not anything too crazy. And so while I typically prefer PM AM, I think if there's that delay that we expect and could happen, I actually wouldn't mind some of the AM PM. And I know every week people say, oh, you guys always just you always do all the waves. Like there's literally not much else you can do with correlation when it comes to golf. You don't want to just play 6 bad putters and hope they all putt good on the same week. You can play 6 ball strikers, shout out to our guy Raza, things like that. But I think weather is just one thing that, well, it's not overrated or underrated, I should say, where people say like, oh, they're not on it enough. I just think it's one angle that you can take and attack with good reasoning that you can actually put behind it, which we've just done here.
Some rain overnight into Saturday. Saturday actually looks quite good in terms of wind and temperature, so a lot of scoring on Saturday I would expect. If you're playing on Underdog, you might want to go with the lower pick'em plays on Saturday because we know this is one of the easiest courses on tour anyway. And then Sunday, there's rain, winds up to 28 miles per hour. It looks like it could just get crunched. I hope this doesn't go into Monday. Because Monday's even worse for wind. Like wind gusts up to like 36 and rain.
We got to get these tournaments over with.
Especially what you mentioned, like all the tournaments that are coming up. Like,
yes.
There's a signature, although most of these guys not playing in a signature event next week.
That's true.
But there is another one next week too.
It's the
Myrtle Beach.
Yes.
It's the alternate event that, what did it used
Myrtle
to be?
Beach Classic or something it's called. Yeah, I forget what it used to be, but this one now, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's just going to be another.
It's going to be like this tournament,
another event like
but
this.
Spieth and Day will be playing at Quail Hollow, and
Yeah.
the rest of these guys will be playing in Myrtle Beach.
Which is funny about the the setup. I know all these guys got to get their reps in and have a chance to get their cards and all that, but it's like next week's alternate event is this week's featured event. It's just pretty standard stuff now with the PGA, but it's the way it has to be.
Well, this got kind of ruined in a weird way because they actually did attract a lot of good names to the Byron Nelson the past few years since it moved to Craig Ranch because it was the week before the PGA Championship. So Scotty would play, Hideki would play. You see that Rory's trying to play every week before the majors this season. That's why he ended up playing Valero before the Masters. But you take that out of the equation, then there's absolutely no reason to show up to this event.
Yes. Yeah. I think, is the RBC Canadian Open like that this year too, I think? I'm pretty sure we got squeezed on that one as well. I said we are our homeland tournament, but it's going to be the way it is right now with the way they're moving things around and these certain signature events and all that. We'll see if it changes in the future. But for now, you mentioned it. These events are going to be ones that get crunched.
Yeah, the Canadian Open should be fine. I don't know if there's a full commitment list as of yet, but it seems like a lot of the top end international players end up playing the Canadian Open anyway. Like Rory's been playing it basically every single year. Lowry, Fleetwood, Hatton used to play it. Obviously, he's no longer invited to be playing in the Canadian Open this time around, but the fields have actually been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that year was awesome. Remember we had like JT, I know Finau was in the mix. It was JT, Rory,
Burns.
Finau, and then the rest of the guys were right behind them as well. So we kind of had 8 to 10 guys that were really solid. And it was the one time we ended up getting the 8 to 10 guys, sort of 6 or 7 of them up at the top of the board. So hopefully we can get something like that again. But when we get that, I don't mind it. It's when we get all the randoms that are out there. It happened on Live last week. Everyone was sort of shitting on the leaderboard with Brendan Steele winning it. And I was like, did you see the people that won the events before Scotty went full dominant mode? Like it was the same shit on the PGA Tour. So it's just, tough right now, but we got to deal with what we got.
Let's talk about the bets. I was going to say the final bets, but obviously I have not finalized anything as of yet. I have the bets that are in. I'll have all of the final stuff in the newsletter this evening, along with a Thursday play for Underdog Fantasy. The one that I gave out on the show yesterday was dead, 40 minutes after I released the show, and Will Zalatoris WD'd. I'd probably end up going Spieth higher 67 total and Jason Day lower than 5.5 birdies. I'm guessing that's what it's going to be because those ones really did stick out to me.
Yeah, I saw Spieth higher bogeys too. That's what he does. He's going to make birdies, he's going to make bogeys, but it feels like it's always good because then I always, I love Underdog for this. I don't love the 68.5 and 69 trying to peg that as much as I'm like, this guy is going to make 2 or 3 bogeys. So if it's 1.5 or 2.5, I just love that setup because he can make 7 birdies, he can still make 3 bogeys, and then he comes in at the 4 under and you're happy and you still win your side of it.
So here's what I got. I got 5 so far. I only got 3 below. I have 7 in, and 3 of them are below 100 to 1. So I have Shank at 55, Kevin Yu at 80 to 1, Ryan Fox at 90 to 1. Then I got some bombs. I got Novak and Toasty, 110 to 1 apiece. Lonto, 175 to 1 with 8 places. Ryan Brem, 250 to 1 with 8 places. And that's what I'm doing. Live Singapore, Cam Smith, 12 to 1. And for the one and dones this week, I got Siwoo, Jeff has Shank, and Cuss took Jason Day. I think he just saw Jason Day was playing, so he's like, I like his pants and his cigarette pack vests, so I'll take him.
Man, we should all chip in and get Cuss the vest.
Oh my
It's
God.
like $250, but it's
$250?
I think it was $250.
You serious?
Yeah.
Who the hell is buying that?
I bet you a lot of people.
Like as a gag gift, that's pretty expensive.
It is, but it would be awesome, and I think he would like it.
We would love it.
I think Cuss would rock that vest and like it. So that's a thought that we can get him that. We should get him that for the President's Cup, and he can wear it around.
In track.
Mark, Pat's marking that down. He's a great idea. We got to have that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do. I mean, Jason Day is gonna be there. He can just dress up as Jay.
It's
I mean,
gonna be
and you know
nuts.
what? Jason Day might not be there for the President's Cup team. He's been bad this year.
Until he does something this week, just because.
And maybe that's the whole thing with this course. It's we've seen this a few times where the Valspar was like this as well, where you just have repeat champions. Casey wins twice, Burns wins twice, maybe Cage Lee wins twice, and Jason Day wins twice at the Bunny Ranch.
Yeah, we'll see.
What do you want to do for the one and done? Or do you have bets in that you want to sell me on?
No, I want you to sell me on Ryan Brem as a long. And besides the odds, what was your Ryan Brem take that I missed?
Listen, he was, top 3 last week. He had a very good chance of winning that team event. And I think you can kind of slice this up one of 2 ways. I do think that you don't necessarily need to have a ton of driving distance at this course, but it doesn't hurt.
Right. Yeah.
It makes the eagle chances a lot higher. He's he's won on the PGA Tour. He was at a alternate event, and it was like 2 years ago. But if you just try to isolate something like you talk about correlation, something like Bombers, he's coming in with pretty good form. He can run a hot putter every now and then. That if you can just correlate the driving distance with the putting, then he's going to be not necessarily in the mix. It's more for the 8 places, but we've seen crazier things happen this year than someone who's already won on the PGA Tour winning again.
Yeah, I'd be fine with it. I think that's fine. I think the other angle of it is obviously for Showdown and DraftKings and Underdog if you can get some, but sometimes a guy like him won't pop up there for an option. So it's just one of those things you have to monitor and look at, but there's other ways to play him still and get action on him. So, okay, I don't have anything else. I have my pick this week was between Noren and Day.
For one and done?
Yeah, trying to use it up. I think I'm just going to use Noren, but
I think I would guess that he or Siwoo will be the most popular pick.
I think for sure Siwoo, but Noren's not far behind him. But I don't know. When else am I using Alex Noren? And this kind of feels like a spot I'd want to use him. So didn't love the betting odds. And so that would be a way to do it. But other than that, Day probably is the other guy I was thinking of using there.
I think Shank will be pretty popular as a selection just down the board a little bit. Adam Scott might be pretty popular as well because where else are you really going to use Adam Scott? I don't know what to do. Hoagie as well will be up there.
Tom Kim, do you think?
I'm going to take Mackenzie Hughes.
I like Mac Hughes this week.
So this was going to circle back to what I wanted to do with the betting card. So I do have a 30% boost at my disposal at Bet365 right now. So I can take KH Lee up to like 77 to 1, which I was thinking about doing. Because there's a couple guys that I do want to bet. Like Siwoo. I want to bet Siwoo. He's the betting favorite now in this tournament, which is crazy to think about. He and Spieth have exactly the same odds. So I can take him up to like 22. I don't know if I want to bet on Siwoo at 22 to 1. I don't want to bet on Ben An at 28 to 1. Hoagie, I guess I could get back up to like 35 to 1, but So it's between like Minwoo was kind of up there, but I don't love his odds either. Like I just don't think these guys, I don't want to back these guys, even though it is a weaker tournament, in the 20s. I just don't.
Well, yeah, Minwoo, maybe. Something about him just this week. Like you think about the setup of it, the easier par fives. You talked about some of it already this week. I just think in general, you put a guy like him out there, it's like he's gonna win, I think.
I agree.
When's it going to be? We don't know. But when would it make sense? Something like this.
I
Just to
would,
kick it off. I mean, that's to me what's going to happen. So I think someone like him is fine. When we get to DFS later, but betting wise, even you could talk about it. I think if what is he right now? 25, you said?
Minwoo?
Yeah.
I think Minwoo I can get at, let's see here. Let me pull it up. I believe that he's like 33. No one's betting on Minwoo this week.
Right.
Minwoo, yeah, 30-1, so I could boost him up to 37-1 if I wanted to. But I made this case in my Golf Digest. I played a head-to-head in the Golf Digest because we have to pick one every single week, and I took Mitchell over Ben An because they're the same guy.
Yeah.
Except Ben An can kind of chip sometimes, but the ball striking for Keith Mitchell is just uber consistent. It's better than Ben An's, and they both can't putt, so really what's the difference? Mitchell has 5 top 30 finishes, top 20 finishes in his past 7 starts. Like, he's just been very consistent. Like, do I want to bet on him to win? I mean, I'd probably bet on him to win over Ben An.
Yeah, I think I would too. And I actually like that head-to-head that you got as well. So
he's
taking that side.
So he's 45-1. Mac Hughes is 45-1, and where is he at? KH Lee is 55-1. I can take him up if I can take all of them up if I want to. Maybe that's the route. Just pick like 2 or even all 3 of those guys and just start my card at 45-1. And then
Yeah.
I
I like the Minwoo one just because I think, like I say, if he plays this 40 times against this field with his skill set, he's gonna win it. That's how I see it.
your guy Sungjae is 30-1.
Yeah, I like him too.
Coming off a win. Time zone difference though.
Korean win, yeah. I mean, that's Rory picked up a win last week too, by the way. Rory and Lowry. It's a team win. People will discount it. It's the same for Sungjae. He went over back-to-back, though, over at that tournament. So good for him. But I don't know. I think wasn't he 12th the time before out too? I think he came 12th just recently.
Sungjae?
Yeah.
He did. Couldn't hit his irons though. It's been the irons that have been like a major problem for him.
You know what someone said? Sungjae slim is the problem. If
listen,
you noticed it, he's slim. It definitely changes your stuff. Like your swing changes up. So you got to get used to the new spot that you're in and the body that you've got. But he's just got to find it. And I just think he's good. I think he's good. Everyone knows this. I have a intervention required at some point. But I think in my defense, I just think it's what everybody's always said about the guy. They watch him. They know all the top pros say it. He's proven himself enough times. He just has to get back to it, and I think this is part of the journey. So I'm good with Sungjae.
I think I'd be more inclined to bet Tom Kim than Sungjae, but I think maybe Minwoo is the play here.
I like it.
Like realistically, if you had Minwoo at 30 or Noren at 25, who's really betting Noren? Like everyone seems to be betting.
Everyone,
Noren.
yeah. That I was just gonna say.
Like, I think he's a great top 10 bet, top 20 bet. He's sort of like the homeless man Xander.
Noren feels better for DFS. Because he's 9,500. It's not like he's 10-9, like the guy at the top. He may not get the job done, but he's like that top 10 play that you talked about. Whoops, you got that set up. And then versus a guy like Siwoo, where we know it's boom bust. And you better hope it's the boom when he's coming in at 25 to 30% owned. And same when you're betting him at these odds. You just got to hope that it's the boom week.
The Pat Mayo Experience is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes you need to get something off your chest. Lord knows I do. And one of the biggest things that can cause is big stressors in our life. Whether they're big or they're small, bottling it all up can really start to affect us very negatively. And therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. And it's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries and really start to affect your life in a positive way. And it might even be some stuff that you're not even really thinking about that you can unlock and really start to improve your life for the better. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge if you're not liking it. So, get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/PatMayo today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PatMayo. Let's talk about DraftKings then and try to win some money this week. That would be fun. I'd like to win money.
I would as well. I think it's a good week to do it still. Again, we know it's going to be. We'll talk about it here in a second. But getting outside of the common build is going to be the way to go about it this week. Because not only that, but there's also so many guys in the 6 and 7K range that can have those spike rounds that make it through the weekend, that spike again on the weekend one time, and it just becomes a score that you need to have or, really makes things work. So we got to look through it from that perspective as well, ceiling wise.
So in terms of ownership off the hop, what I am seeing is a cluster of guys between $8,800. So basically Keith Mitchell up to Siwoo are going to be the highest owned guys of the week. I don't know what order they're exactly going to come in. I think that Siwoo is going to be the highest. But if you don't take Siwoo, you can get back to that mid sevens level where it does seem like there's a lot of ownership potentially congesting with Gim and Novak and Lauer and Kevin Yu, and like having the ability to take two of those guys or three of those guys along with the ones at the top. So you got Hoagie, Noren, Jagger, Siwoo, Mitchell, and Ben-An. Those guys all going to be incredibly popular.
I think Mitchell and Ann get squeezed.
Okay.
Because the setup of Hoagie, Jagger, Noren, Siwoo, and I think I would confidently say Siwoo is going to be number one overall.
And then after that, I mean, Adam Scott is no slouch in this as well. Like, I'm not talking 20% for Adam Scott. It could be like 15.
Scott and Ann get the secondary of that 9K range where people are like, oh, I'm sneaking it up. I'm going to this guy instead. I'm pivoting. But then they still have three other of the same chalk guys and the same build style as everyone else as well. So I definitely think you're right on that. And I think for sure when you do get to the eights, I think it's Schenk over Mitchell. But Mitchell only gets squeezed a little bit because you still have Tom Kim, Mackenzie Hughes, KH Lee, guys that are just going to pull little pieces.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything for Mackenzie Hughes.
I think you'll be surprised then when lock hits.
Like, I would guess 7%.
I'll have double digits on him.
Really? So but that doesn't actually add up, though. Like when we
it's because you think Mitchell and Ann are going to be owned, and I don't.
I do, and I also think Mark Hubbard's going to be owned.
Hubbard's going to be owned for sure.
And at 81, so there's only so many guys that you can fit into lineups.
It's every range. It's okay. So the 9K is Siwoo up at the top, and then Jagger and Hoagie down low with Noren in the middle. The 8K is Mitchell up top, Hughes and Schenk in the middle, and Hubbard down low. It's the same setup.
So you don't think that KH Lee, Mav McNeely get anything?
Not as much as those guys we're talking about. Hubbard gets more for sure.
Everyone
gets more for
Everyone
sure.
always plays Aaron Rye. Don't forget about him.
Rye will pull some for sure, 8,000, but I think it's definitely Hubbard there.
And then you also have Seamus Power, who I do think cracks double digits at the very top of the sevens as well. I just think it's hard to, like when I was building lineups and trying to get a feel for what people are going to do, I just found it very difficult to hit that middle of the 8K range unless you were going out of your way to hit it.
Well, it's just because, again, we're about to build a 3-9K lineup. There's tons of 2-9. Just run your optimizer for 150 lineups dry. Call it dry, like you just run the optimizer with no rules, no nothing. You're still going to get a ton of lineups that have 2-9K guys that add in Schenk, Hubbard, the guys up the middle. So you separate it that way. It stays away from the top still, but it doesn't go to the 3-9Ks.
So here's the problem that I was having with some of these builds, that you have Gim, he'll probably be right around 10%. Chan Kim will be, 7 to 10, something like that. He's somewhat popular. Lauer, Kevin Yu, Novak, Lashley, Pendrith, those guys are just going to be floating right around double digits, like you mentioned. Like, no one's going to be overwhelmingly popular. Maybe it turns out to be Peter Quest. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But other than that, like, I don't really see anyone. Matty Schmidt, who you mentioned, maybe he ends up getting to 10%.
So you could throw, this is what, just to show you, like an optimizer type lineup that's going to pop up of the most popular guys, how we usually start is, and we're going to do the 3-9K anyway.
Let's see. I pre-built one.
Okay, what do you got?
So you say yours, and I'll see if it matches up with what I did.
I did the 2-9K one that's popular, and it's Siwoo, Hoagie, drops to Schenk, and then you get Gim, Lauer, and Novak to round it out.
Okay, so this is it's funny because the most popular build that I went for this week was Siwoo with Hoagie and Adam Schenk.
Okay.
Peter Quest, Ben Martin, and Mark Hubbard.
Peter Quest, Ben Martin, and Mark Hubbard.
I figured that like an optimizer would like Ben Martin this week. Why? Well, I can see why. He's been like, all right.
At 7K, I get it too. Like, that's possible.
But that's sort of the thing. Like, when we go down to the 7K, like 7K and below, I have no idea what anyone is doing.
So let's look at that. Let me see this one just to compare, though. I'm going to save that and get an idea. So that's about 7 points less than the one that I brought up originally, just from projections.
Probably
standpoint.
because Gim rates out really well.
Yeah, of course. That's what I was just going to say. So when we go into the sevens, you said it at the top. Power, Hostler, Gim, Griffin, those types of guys. Peter Quest, Lauer, Pendrith, Novak, CT Pan. Like, I guess some of these are the projections guys. They're going to pop. But my point that I brought up earlier is I actually think we could see a scenario where Gim is the highest owned at something like only 12 to 15%. And, usually we're looking at cases of a 1%er versus a 12%er, and you're saying, okay, no brainer, in a vacuum, head to head, whatever, I'm going to take those odds, especially. But this week I see a lot of guys in that 4 to 7% or 4 to 8%, just to throw a range on it, where it's like 8 and 10 or 7 and 11 or whatever it is. Like, why? Just take your guy, get who you want to get and get your leverage that way. You're probably getting 15 to 20% of them, say, whatever the number is. There's lots of ways that you can go there. So I don't hate it from that perspective as well.
So from that 7K range, if that's going to be the case where you want to take your guys with that, who are your guys from that range? Because I have Pan, Novak, Kevin Yu, and Ryan Fox. Those are like my guys. I mean, I might have pieces of other people, but those are going to be the main guys that I have.
There's a Kim in there that I thought you'd be interested in.
Is it Chan?
Yeah.
I like 4chan enough, but I like Ryan Fox better.
Okay. I like Chan. I like Kevin Yu. I like Lauer regardless of that ownership. He's one of my guys that I'll just get that I'm over on there. Sig can make birdies. Higo, I usually don't play your guy. He's another one that's there that you can play. 7,300. And then dropping down, it just depends.
I like Toasty and Collie as well.
Toasty can get hot for sure. So I think that's a good one. Collie's always your boy. He's there. Schmid was one that was, I don't know how, if he picks up the steam, maybe not as much, but he was one that stood out. SH Kim. Hisatsune, maybe. Like there's guys at that lower range, but the other thing is no ownership at all. But there's a lot of names in the upper 6K range that I think you could sell yourself on. Tway, Vegas, Stanger, Chandler Phillips, Nick Dunlap, Smalley. There's a lot of guys. People like Ryan Moore. They're not getting ownership like them. Saying like people like them, but I'm saying those names are some that are mentioned, and I think you'd be fine going to those guys. Parker Cootie is at 7K. Sam Ryder is at 7K. So you see what I mean? They're just not going to get the ownership. It's going to be dispersed, but you can see why it's going to be dispersed. All those names are options.
So some of the names that I have highlighted from the 6Ks right now, I had Tway at 69, Lonto at 67. Lonto's probably my favorite of all of these plays.
I like it.
David Skins at 66. Guy just pops up every now and then. Might as well throw him into the mix. And then I had Brem down at 62 if I really need someone.
What about Mark Messier?
Yeah, that's your guy.
Yeah, Mac Meisner. That's why I brought it up. I had to put him in there, but I feel like he was up there too in one of these recent ones. But 6,600. I don't care about that. That's fine. Vince Whaley, 6,500. Joe Highsmith, Jacob Bridgman.
Those are all the same guy. Max Gracerman, also the same guy.
Yes.
They might just actually be like one guy gets to play 3 times in a tournament.
What about Carson Young?
He's been bad.
Yeah, I know.
Like he was good he had his 8-month run of being good. Now he's just bad again. Like you got to know when to hop off these guys, I think.
Quade Cummins?
Is that a real guy?
Yeah, man.
Quade Cummins?
Yeah.
Sure. Tom Whitney is also one of those creative players, except he's like Rivelo's buddy, I think.
Harrison Endicott? Is he one of those guys?
I don't think so. I mean, he won his tour card.
Panda, by the way, 6,100.
Oh, my God. Kisner's playing in this field, too. Why doesn't Kisner just go to the booth full time?
I believe it was Christopher Powers. Shout out C Powers. He interviewed him, and Kisner said he doesn't want to go out like that. He said he hates it. How it's sort of his career is rounding out, and it's not going the way he wants, so he's got something to prove. So if you want to see if he's going to prove it, he's down there at 6,100. I'd play my guy Panda just because easy par 5s. I kind of like that. But also, did you play Outlaw Tour DFS during COVID?
I did. Not well.
KK Limbahouse or whatever his name is.
Oh, that guy's playing?
Yeah, man. He got in on a Monday queue, too.
Joel Damon played in some of those events.
Joel Damon might be a play here, too. Birdies, just go out and rack them up.
I played Joel Damon last week.
I feel like you could,
not a success.
Yeah, I feel like you could just drink a White Claw and get away with it during the tournament at this event. Like, no one cares. So he might just be doing that as he rounds the turn. But I think it's, again, my point being, we'll have our guys, we'll lay them out when we get to our player pools and stuff. Obviously, we build our stuff. But this is the reason the ownership in the 7s is the way it is this week, which is kind of interesting because we haven't seen it in a while. So there's no 5K range, which we've seen this season.
And no one wants to play anyone with a 10 in front of their name.
And there's 41 guys in the 7K range, which we haven't seen in a while. All those weeks that we had it was always just 8. It went from 14 to 16 to 18 to 20. Maybe we got to 24. Now there's still a big 6K range, but there is 41 guys in the 7K range. So maybe Gim 12 to 15, but after that, it feels very spread out from there. And it feels like these balance builds with 9K, 3 9K guys, 2 9K guys are the starting point. I will say this, Pat, you mentioned like AM, PM stacks with Spieth Day. Don't hate that. We did that a couple weeks ago. We did that with who was it? There was another event we did that with where it was just the 2 random guys at the top that no one was on. So we said, we'll go that way. But you can leave money on the table huge here. Like you can. It's not to try and find the optimal, like, oh, I saw optimals came out at 46K. I'm going to build all my lineups from 45 to 47. I'm just saying there is no real difference in some of these spots of 2K in the difference.
So if we take a look at, let's try this. Let's try building an AM PM. So here are some of the guys at the top of the player pool for AM PM. Spieth and Day and Sungjae, which is ironically like 3 of the least popular expensive guys this week. You mentioned Spieth's going to get his ownership. I tend to agree with you. I don't see that for Jason Day at all. Mm-hmm. Not that I want to play Jason Day, but that's just the way that it's kind of shaking out right now. Because Hoagie, Kim, Mitchell, and Noren are all a part of that wave as well. So let's just try to get a little bit contrarian here, because I do think that the most common AM stack is going to be Noren, Hoagie, Tom Kim, or Keith Mitchell, whatever. Probably Mitchell over Tom Kim at this point. So that would be a starting point for that. But
Hubbard could fall into that mix as well, like
sure.
you said. So yeah,
but let's do Spieth and Day.
Let's try that. Let's skip this 9K range with good reasoning.
Okay, so that leaves us with $7,100 per player, which is not great.
It's not, but we have to make our plan down low for some of the guys you like that you mentioned already.
Brem is in the afternoon. David Skins is in the afternoon. Tway is in the afternoon. Vince Norman at 7,000.
He's a play.
Is maybe a play there.
Let's throw him in for now just to get us some money. Mind you, that doesn't get us money. All right, average of 72, you throw him in, guess what? You still got the same.
Yeah, so. Lonto is a part of the afternoon wave as well. So, like, none of the guys I like down low are actually a part of the morning wave, which makes this really difficult for me.
So I'm trying to see if there's anyone you mentioned that
none
at all that pops up, and not a single one, right? So we'd have to play my guy, Mac Meisner.
Jesus Christ.
You don't have to. I'm saying let's just keep looking. Who else would it be? So anybody else that you mentioned down here? Taryn, man, there's not a lot.
If I just go to the model and just go for...
Oh, your guy Ben Martin, 7,000. There you go.
There we are. So Ben Martin, 7,000.
And now we get up to an average of 74-ish for the last 2.
I accidentally put in Martin Trainer. Don't want to do that. Ben Martin.
Wow, that last hole, by the way. Not sure how much people tuned into the...
Oh, I watched.
Yeah, that was...
Not great?
Not great. Not great. That's
how you would describe it?
That's one way to put it, yes.
So we're back up to, what, 73.5?
You could go... oh, you can't quite get it, can you? Nope.
You could go Schmidt, Pan, Lashley. Like, they're all a part of...
You can go Pan Pendrith.
You can go Pan Pendrith. Maybe that's what it is.
It's not great, but it's not horrible.
I mean, I don't like this lineup whatsoever. That's usually good for trying to win tournaments.
Do you like Pendrith or Sig?
Pendrith.
I do too. Okay.
Like, as someone who has bet Grayson Sig and played Grayson Sig, the guy legitimately cannot putt.
Good showdown play.
That's a
good showdown play.
Yeah, like he might go 9 under one of these rounds.
Yep.
But he's also real live to shoot a 75 when everyone else is shooting 65.
Live to shoot a 75. Yeah, I like that one. But don't you think then that just tells us that it's more of a Sung J.M. Tom Kim AM PM build that would be more comfortable? Like you just get after. Obviously, you'd have more money, but I mean, feels like that's pretty rough what we just built.
The reason that I wanted to build this lineup is because out of 100% of lineups, how many of them do you think are going to be Spieth Day lineups? 0.001%? Like, they are the 2 best players in the field, technically.
I think based on this and what we do, it'll be higher. But yes, to your point, that's how people will probably get there. And that's why I always talk about the difference between weather wave stacking and wave stacking are totally different, because in this scenario, you're naturally avoiding heavy chalk. You're naturally avoiding the, by far, top 3 to 4 most common roster constructions. And you are just also putting yourself on guys at the very bottom that can be the ones that people are like, well, how the hell did you get to this guy when, of course, he has a career week? Well, the only way you could get to him was because you decided to start with Spieth and Day, which forced you into that range. So it's like a runoff of things and layers that put you and lead you down that road. So that's one note to make, strategy-wise.
So here becomes the problem with this. So I changed the lineup. I took Day out.
Okay.
So instead of a Day Spieth start, it's now a Spieth, Tom Kim, Mac Hughes start.
All right.
Problem being, we're back in exactly the same range again. 7,100 for 3 guys.
So what did we have before? Pendrith, CT Pan.
And Martin.
Can we still go?
Or we can go Vince Norman at 7.
We could go
Ben Martin at 7, and then we got $7,500 for Kevin Yu.
Okay, just 1 second. So Martin, we had before. Mm-hmm. You said Kevin Yu?
Yeah. And Vince Norman.
Vincent and Double R Norman. That's way better.
I agree. I like this lineup a lot better.
Of note, I will say that we had. So didn't we have somebody else in there at 7K?
We had Pan and Pendrith.
Oh, okay. So this one actually projects better too, so I don't hate that. But I probably swap Ben Martin to my guy. Hisatsune. I like this lineup. Spieth,
You like
Kim,
Rio instead?
Hughes, yeah.
Not Bridgeman?
He's good too.
Not Parker Cooley?
He's fine too. He's afternoon though.
Oh, is he?
But your guy Bridgman would be up there, yeah. But I don't know. I think this is a better, this is a nice lineup still. It's very, you're starting with Spieth, whatever he ends up coming in at. You only have one 9K guy. A lot of lineups will have 2 to 3. In the 8Ks, you don't have Mitchell. You don't have Shank. You don't have Hubbard or Rye. You've got Hughes. And Hughes probably gets some secondary in there, but that's fine as far as ownership goes. And then even if people have you, do they really have Rio and Norman? Probably not. This is the nicest one yet. It came in about 10 shy of our original chalk build. It's an AM PM. It's a unique build. We could sell people on these guys.
It does. I mean, as much as we rag on Spieth, I wrote up Spieth as my betting fade of the week in that Golf Digest column because he was 14-1.
Right.
I'm not going to bet. I kind of made the comparison to Mac Hughes. Mac Hughes is essentially playing exactly the same as Jordan Spieth right now, except he's 5 times the odds. Why would you ever bet on Jordan Spieth?
Sneaky good right now too.
But
Mac
that's
Hughes.
also not to say that Spieth can't win this tournament.
He can.
He is the best player here.
It just depends on what happens. We do this every week. This guy sucks. He can't show up. There's no way. Everyone just watched the Masters and said all these guys that sucked at the Masters won't do good the next week. It was huge made cut rate. Lots of guys at the top of the board. It was actually maybe that time away and get the stress of a major, Augusta National Golf Club, all that out of the way, and then they go play pretty good the next week out. So it's just, I don't care about that stuff ever. I just think this build is nice. It has a strategy to it. It's not going to be a common roster construction, and all these guys like Spieth, Tom Kim, probably the guys I could see winning. Mac Hughes could show up and be in the top 5, no problem. And then those other 3 can really score. And we've seen Double R Norman get his win at a tournament like this as well.
What you can also do, so you can trade in, if you want, the Ben Martin Ryu spot with Spieth and turn that into Mitchell and Hoagie.
All right, so let's do that. Mitchell.
So your most expensive player ends up becoming Tom Hoagie at $9,100. So you go $9,100 Tom Hoagie, $9,000 Tom Kim, $8,800 Keith Mitchell, $8,600 Mac Hughes, and then Ben Martin and Kevin Yu.
Yeah, this is probably the 3rd most common build.
Yes,
let's say, but in a much more unique way.
Well, that's
when you speak of it, because let's say Mitchell gets the secondary and Hughes gets the secondary. Tom Kim is still behind some of these other guys, and Hoagie, you and Norman just can't be. So this to me projects really well. 9-9-8-8-7-7 keeps the 10s away, keep the 6s away, but you don't have a lot of the chalk that's there this week.
What I would say that the more common version of this build would be turning Kim into Noren and Hughes into Hubbard, because I think that's a perfect 2v2.
Yeah, let's do that. So Kim into Noren.
So yeah, what was it? Yeah, Kim into Noren up to 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. I think that's a legitimate perfect 2v2.
And the original version of it that we just had projected better.
Really?
So that's the interesting part.
I wonder if that's due to Tom Kim's perceived win equity.
Most likely, yeah.
Or Mac Hughes is over Hubbard. I mean, Mac Hughes has, 3 career wins? Hubbard
also,
has
I'm using
0.
Ship It Nation projections. You just go Mayo, get a discount. But I'll say that Tom Kim is looking better there for that reason as well. And obviously in our course fit rankings, he's doing quite well also. So
I'll chuck in your guy Vince Norman instead of Ben Martin as well.
That's what I did. I like that lineup. Yeah, that's what I put. But that is a good 2v2 that you found, and that's what people should be looking at, right? And which ones, while you're sticking on the same thing, you just gave yourself a pretty good ownership decrease overall. Product ownership goes down, everything's solid. So I think that is a better version, the one that we had previous.
So if we tried to build the chalkiest version of this AM PM, I mean, this probably isn't it because it would start with Spieth and people just aren't starting with Spieth. I think that if they were going to do the chalk version of this, they would start Noren, Mitchell, or Noren Hoagie.
I think it's Noren Hoagie with Mitchell Hubbard.
With Mitchell Hubbard? Yeah, but if we go Spieth Noren to start, that drops us to 74 immediately.
Well, that's why I think Keith Mitchell could get squeezed, because I think people play Hubbard no matter what, and he's under the average price. Can you go Spieth Noren Hoagie Hubbard or no?
I mean, you can.
I mean, how much are we getting? I mean, is it realistic? No, you're down to 6.2.
Yeah.
I don't know if Spieth gets into it, man. I think it's still...
I agree, but that's why I was trying to think, like, if you want to play Noren, I have a feeling that Noren is either going to be the first man into a lot of lineups, or he'll be the second with Siwoo.
Is there a guy at 6.8K that would be popular?
No. Not that I can see.
6.7 or anybody in there? No?
Maybe Bryce Garnett.
No, I don't see it.
Maybe Ryan. Like, the optimizers will like Ryan Moore. I guarantee you.
You think?
Yeah.
So-
His stats are good.
I guess, but he's afternoon in this build, so we were just trying to see. I think Noren Hoagie will be the start. Gim.
Gim's in the AM?
Yeah, Gim would for sure be in there. And then we have to start balancing. Like, I think Hubbard more than Mitchell, so I went with Hubbard. That leaves around 7,800.
For two guys. In the morning, you can have your guy Ben Griffin's in there.
It's just tough to then find what's next.
No, I think it kind of opens itself up here. You go either.
I guess it's Matt Hughes with whoever you think at 7K.
Or you go Kevin Yu or Peter Quest or Justin Lower.
Oh, Yu. Let's see what Yu does. Let's try this.
Putting Kevin Yu, and that gets us to Mav McNeely, I think. Or it gets us to 81. No, we're one short. So
okay, so if I put in Kevin Yu.
It's funny, all those guys were exactly $7,500.
81. Let's change Hubbard out to Mitchell.
Hubbard to Mitchell?
And then that lands us on 74, which is Taylor Pendrith or Sig. Yeah, this is the more popular version, and it projects good. So it just makes it make sense. So it would be Noren, Hoagie, Mitchell, Gim,
Pendrith, and that Kevin
Pendrith.
Yeah, or you could be because they're all 7,500. It could be Quest or could be Lauer. All those guys are 75 and all relatively popular. So
yes, that's where the
those guys are
conundrum is,
interchangeable.
and that's a good point you just brought up that we didn't touch on earlier. Is the Quest, not even PM, not even just the fact they're all AM. That's just random. It worked out that way. But Quest, Lauer, Pendrith is a common landing zone. Just looking at some builds earlier and last night and stuff coming into this, where you're landing in that spot quite often and having to make those decisions on that. And AM cannot be your tiebreaker because they're all AM. In it.
So we talk about this a lot. What if we just play them all?
That's a good call.
So we'll play Quest, you, and Lauer because no one's doing that. They're picking one of those three, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then you go Hoagie, Mitchell, and you got $9,600 Noren. So instead of trying to squeeze in Gim or Hubbard, whoever it might be, you just play those three with the three top chalk guys. And although this is probably an incredibly chalky lineup, I don't think that people get to this. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong.
They can still get to it, but it's just a matter of like, do you still have separation within this? It's a 2.9K, 1.8K with 3 7s. And
I don't like this lineup, but I could see this.
What if we take Noren and Hoagie out and Mitchell?
Okay.
And add Pendrith. Go one more. Go all 4 of them that we mentioned. Leaves you 10.1.
Then you can go Spieth Hoagie if you want.
Ooh, Day Sungjae. Now that's a lineup right there.
There we go.
Day
now you're
Sungjae
different.
with the 4 dudes. So you don't have to pick from the 4 dudes, and you get 2 different guys up top that are both in the AM, and any Day Sungjae lineup can be Spieth with Hoagie. Because we're staying AM on it. It would be Jagger as well, but Hoagie, there you go.
So I get the sense that building a PM type of wave is going to be way more fun. And as we pointed out, if there are no delays, I do think the PM gets the better of it.
Yeah, well, this also should be more common because we start with Siwoo.
Yeah.
And then you definitely put in,
So let's just throw in some of the guys that are a part of this wave just so we can get the names out there for people. You don't have to play all these guys, obviously.
Right.
And it looks like Dietrich is going to get squeezed as well. My numbers really like Dietrich.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of Shank, maybe Dietrich ends up becoming the move, or you just play both those guys together.
I think people are definitely playing Shank, but I like Dietrich as well.
Are you going to play a lot of Siwoo?
No.
I don't think I am either.
It's just the factor of what I was talking about. Like, you like guys that are boom bust like that, but typically when we're talking about it, it's guys like Thigala at 8,600 or Max Homa at 9K or 8,900, something like that. At least with them, I feel like you have the price is built around it where you can still get away with it. Here, it feels like Siwoo's most people's starting point, and so it makes it a lot tougher because it's, again, other guys can win underneath him and he can just do his job, but you are paying way up for a boom bust guy that I'm going to use him in like PMAM lineups and stuff that makes sense and try and get different that way, but probably not a lot overall just because of the ownership. I'm just not going to be able to get there.
So let's try this one. We start with Minwoo, Ben-An, Dietrich, Shank. And that gets us back to that level that we were trying to build earlier.
But now we switch to the PM side.
Now,
of it.
and we have, I mean, I have guys that I like down here. You can go Lanto, Novak, I think. Boom, easy game.
Novak.
And Lanto.
Lanto Griffin is 60...
700.
He is. All right, not bad. Still, all these project good too. Still good. And no one's going to have this version of it till they do now. But Minwoo with Ben-An, you're playing the 2 9K build, but you're doing it in a PM AM only lineup. Not many people full stack.
And fading Siwoo.
And then you're fading Siwoo. And even though you have 2 9s, 2 8s, you don't have any of the main guys that we talked about, like Hoagie, Jaeger, Siwoo. You don't have Mitchell. You don't have Hubbard. You don't have a lot of those guys. You don't have Gim in the 7K range. You don't have any of the chalk in there, so you can get away with this.
So I might full fade Siwoo. I might full fade Jaeger as well. So what does that leave me with? What do you make of Adam Scott?
I usually like him.
It's a lot of money for Adam Scott, who's just not been good.
Right, and I just don't know if he has to get squeezed too. To me,
I agree.
Like Siwoo, Norin, even the Minwoo talk. I don't think it's going to be high, but it's like people, eventually it takes a little bit away from him. Ben-An, Jaeger, Hoagie, it just can't be. And what do I always say about Adam Scott? This is kind of the inverse of what I mentioned earlier with Siwoo. I know I'm paying up for a boom bust. I know Adam Scott's probably not going to win either, but I like Adam Scott in the weaker fields because a lot of his history and his past is always based on how he always just a top 30 guy. If you want a top 30, pay 9,600 for it. Well, not necessarily the case. He's always played in the hardest fields, the strongest fields, the hardest courses, the biggest events. This is not that. So we see spots like this where he does show up. So I actually kind of like him this week at 9,600.
Okay, so I'll leave Scott in. So I'll remove Siwoo and remove Jaeger from my player pool of the PMs. So that means the most expensive guy that I can use is actually Adam Scott now at $9,600. So you could build a Scott, Minwoo, Ben-An lineup if you wanted to. That leaves some of the guys in the 8s, Dietrich, who I mentioned, Shank, who I bet, so obviously I like him, and KH Lee, who I do like, and I'm considering betting at the same time as well. And then it's like Jake Knapp, Seamus Power, Ryan Fox, Novak, Bud Colley, and then some of the guys in the 6s that I mentioned, being Skins, Brem, if you really need losers to fill out your lineup, or you get Kevin Tway and Lanto near the top there. So it's interesting how you can kind of finagle those lineups around, I think, to make something a little bit more unique than we've been. We tried to build the chalky versions of these things, but could we fit in Scott? Let's go. Can we go Scott, Shank, Dietrich, KH Lee? I think that's 3 8s. Your team is completely different. And we still have $7,400 left. You could theoretically, if we use Lanto, let's say, or Tway, let's use Tway in this one, just to change it up a bit. We're back up to 8,000, which gives us Jake Knapp. So you have 4 8s with a 9 and Kevin Tway.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I kind of like that build too. That's definitely different. Knapp is also going to be lower owned than Rye in that spot for sure.
And Mav and Hubbard and Seamus Power.
Man, Rye is also afternoon there?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that 8K alone would be different. One thing I was going to talk about too, I thought about this today when you mentioned earlier, I wanted to wait till we got to lineup building, but you trust, again, it's a long shot bet. No one gives a shit. I get it. But Brem, if you're trusting him for that, Brem, you can start. He's a PM guy. He fits here. You're betting him to win. You definitely don't need him to win. That's the best part. You could even miss your each way like we always do, and he gets T11, and you're like, that sucks, but that's really good for DFS. So the guys that you were trusting on betting, like Brem, KH Lee, to start a lineup, and now you have almost 9K average left over. Who are some of the other guys that you bet again? So we considered Minwoo. He's afternoon. Who's another guy that you bet that's PM up here?
Shank.
That's right.
I mean, this is just very similar to the lineup that we just built.
Oh, you like Dietrich though, right?
I like Dietrich enough. I'm not going to bet Dietrich.
No. Who is another guy that you bet that's a little bit lower? Anybody lower on the DraftKings board price-wise, I mean?
Fox,
that you consider.
who is PM.
So Fox.
Now we have 10K.
Yeah, so this is your lineup, even though you don't love Siwoo. But
You can
if you
throw
were
Siwoo.
playing a Siwoo lineup, he's got the best. He's like the betting favorite now. It's Siwoo with Minwoo, and then you drop into the 8K and get Shank and KH Lee, and it really doesn't matter any of that chalk that you're saying, oh, that's two of these guys. Well, we're rounding it out with Ryan Fox and Ryan Brem. Double R. The Ryan squared. That is only about 10 points off the chalky lineup that we originally projected.
So I think that's really the key here and the interesting point of this week, that when we go through all this stuff, no one is projecting well. It's not like Scheffler is in here. So you build Scheffler lineups, which you're just inherently going to project 20 points better because he's so much better. All these, just kind of harken back to the point that I made earlier, that I don't see that big of a differentiation between Spieth and Mac Hughes. I bet you the projections don't show it either. I'm sure they like Spieth more, like in overall raw points, but I doubt it's like that big of a gap.
No, it's 15 or somewhere in that range, 12 to 15 points, and it's golf, and there's streaks, and there's eagles, and there's who knows albatross and stuff like that. Like shit happens. So I think that was my point earlier, which is insane to say, but it's what is it, 86, so 96? I mean, $2,300. It's the same dude probably. To be honest, Hughes, I should note, has been. I tried to mention it quickly earlier, but he's been sneaky good lately. He's got like 5 top 30s in his last 6 with 1 missed cut only, and some of them were top 20s, so with good finishes. So I mean, like this guy is fine, and he's been good on the easier par 5s. I know people think that he's always like a hard go. I can only play him when it's like he's not. He's just a grinder. Well, it's not true as well. Like that's another situation. So to your point, it makes sense from that perspective, and you could just leave that money on the table and take your best Spieth lineup and drop it down to Mac Hughes and call it a day.
Additionally, you can change Siwoo and Brem into Skins and Scott if you want to.
Siwoo and Brem.
Into David Skins and Adam Scott.
Skins and Scott.
Trying to see. Norlander rates out really well, but I feel like he hasn't played at all, and he was terrible with Luke List on Sunday. Terrible.
Yeah, some of those teams.
Now, you know what? Norlander's... what did he finish last week? Well, they ended up coming top 10, right, as a team? I think they were T9.
I think they were up there, yeah.
So he hasn't played much. He's only played 4 times this year outside of the team event. T36 at Corrales, missed the cut in Houston, but gained 4 strokes on approach in Houston in 2 rounds. Lost 7 strokes putting. That's not great. 15th at Puerto Rico, 13th at Mexico. Maybe Norlander's a play.
You could fit him in for Skins.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I went down just to sort in my short-term modeling of all these guys in the 6K range. Who were the guys who were the best rated? Norlander's actually the best.
What if we do a Norlander Brem lineup?
Oh my God! What would be the point? Just to leave 3,000 on the table?
I'm just trying to see if there's anything that makes sense.
Kelly Craft actually rates out incredibly well too. I get sucked into this so much.
Ooh, KH Lee or Siwoo Kim. Here you go. So Siwoo, Scott, Minwoo. That's a different 3-9K guy lineup.
Okay, say it again. Siwoo, Scott, Minwoo.
Yeah, and then you get Shank, Norlander, Brem.
Norlander, Brem.
The thing is, your bets typically believe that 5 of those guys could do something, and if Norlander ends up being the play,
well, I mean, I'm
play.
putting a lot of faith into a 400-1 Ryan Brem here.
I get it, and we don't think he's winning. That's why we said we get it that it's just a long shot bet that you're throwing a few bucks on, and whatever happens, happens. But all the time it happens where it's like, oh, he was kind of in the mix. What happened? Oh, he just fell apart a little bit over the weekend. All right, that's fine. But can he still pay off $6,200 the way that he got there? And then you've got a bunch of other dudes that you like. So interesting to look at. It only projects like 6-7 points less than some of those other builds because you've built in Kim, Lee, Siwoo Kim, Minwoo Lee, Adam Scott, and then Adam Shank still is up there as well. And then the 6K guys still got to put up points. It's not going to be as much, but they're going to put something up.
So let's take out Siwoo and Brem as a part of this, just to see how this rates. That guy's in the afternoon. That guy's in the morning. That guy's in the morning. All these guys are in the stupid morning. Bud Colley's there. Good for him. Toasty. We'll use Toasty and leave some money on the table. We haven't put Toasty into any of these lineups, and he's someone I do like this week. So we take out Siwoo and Bram and turn them into Dietrich and Toasty.
Yes.
And is there anyone at 89, 88?
No, you got your guy. That makes sense.
Yeah. So how much worse does that project?
It projects 5 points better than what we just looked at.
Okay. Because it doesn't have
I mean, but
Bram.
you're not getting Norlander and him. That's why.
No, but it's just Norlander.
Which is better off. And also, Norlander can now go back to a guy you liked a little bit more.
It could go to Lonto.
Lonto, who you liked better. And that's projecting better. That's actually a good lineup too, Pat. You've got 2 9Ks, 2 8Ks, a 7, and a 6.
And a
None
low
of the chalk.
7.
Scott, Minwoo start. Then you got the Australian start, right? You got Scott, Minwoo, Dietrich, Shank, Toasty, and Lonto Griffin.
So I think the conclusion that I'm going to make on this for people trying to differentiate their lineups this week is that if you can get yourself comfortable with 2 or 3 guys, or even a pool of guys between 67 and 71, your lineups are going to be so much different than everyone else's because everyone is just falling in that 73 to 76 range.
Yes.
And taking 2 or 3 for 4 spots there.
That's why we talked about the strategy-wise. Lumping them all together is different than everybody else is making a decision between them. And then the secondary, or it could be the first, and that's the secondary, would be just skipping that range altogether, skipping a range of guys. So 73 to 77, Doug Gim down to whoever, that's where you can get different, and you're naturally, then you can do kind of whatever you want up top for the most part.
Well, let's see what you want to do because we got to have the head-to-head draft. You beat me last time.
I won the monies. Yes.
At the Heritage.
Finally got it done, yeah.
Hoagie blew it for me.
Good.
He made the quintuple bogey on the final hole, and that dropped me below you.
That
hole cost me so much money. It was incredible.
That was like the start of the year this year when I had Sam Burns and Siwoo both just do
at Amex.
insane things on the last 3 holes when everyone's people were congratulating me on a Fantasy Golf World Championship ticket like it was a runaway. Nope, they lose all those position points plus those scores, everything. It's just the worst. So, all right, let's do this draft.
So since you won, you go first, right? Or is it I go first?
I go first because I won,
Okay.
but I only get the 1 pick, and then I rounded out the end. So I'm going to start with Jordan Spieth.
Okay. And I will take Mac Hughes and Adam Schenk.
Boo. I was about to take Hughes.
I'm sorry, can't take him. I took him.
All right. Then I'm going to take...
I'm not playing a PM AM or AM PM for this. I'm just picking guys that I like. It's usually what I do. It's been good for me so far.
All right. What are we doing here, man? Spieth is who I have. Now let me look down the board. I need to pick 2 guys from this range. Ugh. It's kind of like because you know what you're setting yourself up for later. That's really why it's more tricky than usual than just saying pick 2 guys. But I'm trying to look at it here. Let me go Sung Jae as my second one in, and now I'll drop down and look for value. I'm going to go with Lauer.
Lauer?
Yeah, Spieth to start. You had your 2 guys, now I got Im Lauer.
Okay, and I will go... that doesn't work. Let's take... feel like Hoagie's going to miss the cut. Just the aura that I get. He's either going to win or miss the cut. Those feel like his 2 outcomes.
Could be a week to just fade everybody over 15% and just, hope to get lucky. See what happens there because it doesn't feel like great chalk.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, we didn't really talk about Noren all that much, but I do really like Noren. Like especially as a DraftKings play. I just think that, T17 to T8 is very much in the mix for Alex Noren this week. So I have Hughes and Shank. I'll take Noren and Novak.
Okay. And I will take, I think I'm more ready this time. I will take Rio and Kevin Yu.
Ah, shit. Well, throws a wrench into my plans.
Well, you did it to me.
I had Kevin Yu in there, so now what do I do? I'll take KH Lee at $8,300 and Ryan Fox at $76.
And I'll round out with TP, Canadian guy, Taylor Pendrith.
So your team is?
I have Spieth, Sung Jae, so 10-9, and then none of those chalky 9 guys, no 8K guys, and I've got Lauer, Yu, Pendrith. He set Sune at 7K to round it out, no 6K guys, and I am there. What do you have again?
I have Norin,
Yep.
Hughes, Shank, KH Lee in the 8th, so a 9-3 8K build
Okay.
with Novak and Ryan Fox, 74 and 76.
What does the fox say? Me. Okay, and you have the rounded out guy was Novak. Yeah.
Novak was my final guy.
Ooh, you got me this week. 11 points.
That's
Actually,
not
it's a
good.
Big time
That's not
blowout.
good. I don't like when I'm projected to win. I never win when I'm projected to win.
We both went pretty unique setups on our lineups because mine was 10-9 with no 9K chalk and none of the 8K guys, plus no Gim or anything like that in the upper sevens. You went with a 9, 3 8Ks and 2 sevens. And well, we both landed on one guy sort of in that range. Like you got Novak, I got Pendrith, I got you. Actually, I have 2. It's not overdoing it really for what we built. And mine, by the way, was AM/PM that I built as well.
Was it? Okay. So just to kind of circle back to what we did at the very beginning of this, I do think that the main head-to-head lineup that most people are going to roll out with this week is going to be Siwoo, Hoagie, Shank, Gim, Quest, Novak.
Yeah, and I had it
Like that
as
would be the
still the highest projected to all the lineups that we did. I have it close. It was Siwoo, Hoagie, then it went down to Shank, then Gim, Lauer, Novak. And Novak and Lauer and those guys could switch around as we saw, but to your point, we're pretty similar.
Yeah, and you could take Shank up to Norin if you wanted to, and you could drop Quest to Norlander. If that's you want to get a little bit crazier, because I feel like that there's not that there's safety in Alex Norin, but I think that people perceive him that way. And that if you can start Siwoo, Hoagie, Norin as your 9K guys, I think that's a path that people want to take. Then you get Gim, Novak, and Norlander in there. So there's no Lauer, there's no Yu, and there's no Quest at the $7,500 level. You just avoid those 3 guys and just drop one down to Norlander to get Hoagie instead of Shank.
Man, I was so close. What did you ever build a theme lineup?
Like
What if we went on a Viking quest and we had Norman, Norlander, and Quest to start the lineup?
who do we have at the top is the
It's
problem.
where does the quest? It's you got to think. Does it end up in South Korea with Siwoo, Sung Jae, and I guess you could put Betty Ann in there at 9,300?
How many people do you think are going to play the Kim lineup just for the lulz?
A lot of people.
There's 6 of them, and it works. You leave $3,300 on the table. You get Siwoo, Tom, Cham, Michael, SH, and Chris Kim from England,
Oh God.
who is a real person apparently.
What if it goes to Australia? Is Minwoo? Is New Zealand?
Minwoo's Australian.
Australian.
Ryan Fox is a Kiwi.
You can't quite get to Jason. I was trying to get Jason Day, Adam Scott, and Minwoo Lee to round it out, and your Viking quest could end up in Australia.
That's where the quest brings you.
That's where the
is
quest
the former
brings you.
penal colony of England to Australia.
Yeah, but if you put Norin in here for the triple Nor on the quest, it leaves you 9,800, which is Siwoo and Sung Jae. That could be the one.
There you go.
All right, we tried that just for the fun of it.
Do you know how many crimes it would take to send you to the penal colony of Australia?
I do not. Is
19. There's a shitty wine that I actually somewhat enjoy called 19 Crimes.
All right.
It's very sugary, though. I had to stop. I was gaining some weight when I was getting the old gullet when I was drinking 19 Crimes. I had to upgrade to a less sugary wine.
We got to get you on Jeopardy. That was a good one.
Well, because my wine knowledge coming through with...
You need a certain category, of course, that
Yes.
would be able to pull it off. but-
wine, Australia and wine, but nothing to do with Australian wine. Although that probably, I would guess that is an Australian wine.
And
if
you
it's
just
maybe-
get lucky, and golf is another topic up there or something.
Getting lucky in golf, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
That I have a lot of experience with. You have experience of winning some of these GPPs and doing really well, and all your members doing well over at shipitnation.com as well. So you can use code Mayo over at ShipItNation, and you're in the Discord. You got your player pools, the core stat rankings.
Yep.
Outside of it, was it Pendrith and Norman this week, or was it just Pendrith?
Pendrith was up there for sure. Double R Norman is
Yeah.
up there. Tom Kim is up there. Those are the course fit rankings. Lee does a great job with those. Obviously, brought him over from Fanshare Sports. Awesome guy, does that stuff every week for us, but we just went through it, the projections, the ownership, the stone, everything with the Degenerate 75 merger. Shout out to our guy James, getting healthy. Talked to him yesterday. He's working on...
I talked to
getting
him
his
this
way
weekend
back.
too.
Awesome, man. Yeah, just good stuff. He's really in good spirits, as he always is, but nice to see. He's battling back, wants to get back for the PGA Championship to do a couple of streams that week. But huge announcement today at shipitnation.com, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and you can go back and watch it on replay if you don't catch it live.
No,
but
only live.
You should catch it live.
Can't watch on replay.
And you should
Illegal.
use code Mayo because you'll want to lock in the best price possible for sure. So lots of good stuff coming up at Ship It Nation. If you didn't check it out, I interviewed the guy, Chris Hearn, that won the Millie Maker at the Masters. That's on the channel as well. Just go to the Ship It Nation YouTube station under videos. Leave a comment there congratulating him. It could be something in that for you as well. But a lot of good things going on right now. ShipItNation.com. Code Mayo gets you a discount.
Did he credit me for winning? Because I would take that credit.
I don't know.
Was he like, hey, Pat made these picks and they were all terrible. So what I did was did the opposite of those and I won $1 million. Because that's a very viable strategy.
This year? I don't know, man. People
Lately.
following the Mayo picks. Mayo equals money.
Yeah, but I'm back into coming second place in every tournament again.
Millie making Mayo. Sounds perfect if we could get that.
If
Toe
I-
tagging Tambo and Millie making Mayo.
Listen, I'll forego the nickname if I just win the $1 million. That's something that I would like to do.
What else would you forego for the million? But that's the
A
thing,
lot.
right? People are asking that. So yeah, I think it's good, but lots of good things going on. This was fun breaking it down, getting back in studio
Yeah.
with you, and everyone hates on these events. It is what it is. There's still money to be won. We talked through some good strategies, and there's a huge run of amazing events coming up right now. You sign up for anything I've got, anything like that, you're going to get the PGA Championship. Sign up that week, you'll get right through to the U.S. Open. So get in now, check it out, get used to it, and then stick with it.
Yeah, fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself the simulations, the lineup builder, the ownership projections, and it gives you access to the best leaderboard app going. Fortunately, PGA Championship uses ShotLink, so we will have that in the app as well. The U.S. Open is going to be tricky. Tricky on that front.
Last week people were so mad, but they're testing it out for
President's Cup
coming up.
But
President's Cup,
in
baby.
fairness, there was no app that worked last week.
Right. That's fine.
Yeah, so we still get our information from ShotLink. We just happen to get it faster than the PGA Tour app, and we have it presented a lot easier. Now, finally, for you, the week to try it out.
Yes. I did download the first step to get like that test pilot thing you need
Yep.
to then get to it. So this will be the week to try it out
Yeah,
for sure.
so that's just included in a membership as a part of Fantasy National. Code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy. You can get in the draft. We'll try to fill up the PME Classic. It's completely rake-free, so if you're going to invest, you can do that. Best Ball Mania live as well. I'm going to start having shows on that ASAP for all you big football fans out there. Derby show already recorded with Raza and Cam dropping tomorrow. Who is it you want to bet? Ways and Means at the Kentucky Oaks at 7-1.
yeah.
And then 2 horses at 10-1 and 14-1 in the Kentucky Derby.
good.
And I parlayed them together too.
So good watching that every year. So I'm excited.
We had a lot of fun.
yeah.
Probably not the great. I mean, Cam does know his horses. The guy bets on a lot of horse racing.
And he
Ro-
gets excited. We love that.
He does. He made. Unfortunately, the microphone that he uses really drowns out his horse sound effects. So maybe when we get him in studio one day, it will work out a little bit better on that front. But Underdog Fantasy, code Mayo, get yourself that deposit match of up to $100. We've been running train on the UFL props, just really boosting everything up. I've been tailing Meanies NHL playoff stuff and cleaning up on that front as well. And I'll have the official PGA play for Thursday in the newsletter, along with all the final bets and all of the final info that you need for the CJ Cup Byron Nelson this week as well. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. Smash a like. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!